Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Small Enterprise webinar series. This is our 80th webinar ever since the pandemic has started. So I sincerely thank each and everyone who have been with us for the last so many webinars, masterclasses, and the recent awards that we have done, the Small Enterprise Business Awards, which was the 4th annual awards, which we did on the 25th of November, 2021. So thank you all taking your precious time out to attend today's webinar. We have eminent speakers today. I'll introduce them to you while we just get on to our program. So quickly, I just want to understand, make you all aware about the rules of the house. So the format is going to be simple as we are being going through the last many webinars. If anyone wants to ask a question, please type in your request on the chat box. We have a Q&A session towards the end. We are going to have various topics about the budget for MSMEs. Any questions that you want to ask, please don't interfere the speakers when they do the presentation. Keep it for the Q&A session so that they can address it in a proper manner. If you want to ask a question to any speakers after they speak, please raise your hand or again let us know so that we can give you an access to ask a question. But I prefer keep that towards the end, towards the Q&A session. So a quick introduction about today's webinar and the program that we have for you. I'll just introduce the program so you know what we are going to talk about today. So the topic of today's webinar, as we all know, is about the Union Budget 2022 and what's in for MSMEs. Everyone they were all anxiously waiting about budget this year. Every industry segments, whether it's large enterprise, small and medium to startups to even the household, the common man, the consumers, they all are waiting for the budget. But our area of interest is for MSMEs and startups. So here we are. We have Mr. Ajay Thakur. He is the head of MSME BSc SME from Mumbai. We have Mr. Pugal, who is a senior consultant from Tally Solutions. Mr. Manoj Maheshwari is a AVP Finance from Sage Publications, and Mr. Sai Seshadri Krishnamurthy, he is a people leader, mentor, and coach with lots of years of experience. So quickly, I'll talk to you about today's agenda, and so you're well aware of the program, what's going to be in store for the day. So we welcomed the speakers. I thank you all the speakers who have been agreed to join us today on this very important topic for MSMEs. The budget, actually it's decoding budget for the MSMEs. So thank you all. And the agenda for today is about the Union Budget and MSME benefits by Mr. Ajay Thakur. He is getting on with another meeting and joining us. Probably if he's not able to join us by now, our first speaker will be Mr. Sai Seshadri Krishnamurthy. So the next speaker is Mr. Pugal, who is going to talk about the Union Budget and the Tally Solutions for MSME. Followed by Mr. Pugal is going to be Mr. Sai Seshadri Krishnamurthy, who is going to talk about enhanced focus on digitization and SME benefits. And Mr. Manoj Maheshwari will be talking about new opportunities for startups, followed by all the speakers. After the speakers finish their presentation, we have a Q&A session. So any concerns, any benefits, whatever you want to know, please put in, text your queries into the chat box, and we'll definitely address that. A big thank you for our partners, Tally Solutions, who have been with us for last many years, who've been supporting for all our initiatives, whatever we do, whether it's a conference or agenda, or for a webinar or any other program that we do, they're always with us. They focus big time on the MSMEs to help their, streamline their accounting and ERP solutions. Our media part is Small Enterprise Magazine and the portal. Knowledge part is Aspire Consulting, which is part of Aspire Media, and the Business Club, and Acceleration Partner, the Gain. They are also been a partner for us for our awards and many other programs. Gain is an acceleration partner for SMEs and also for startups. And the whole event is organized by us. And thank you once again for joining us today. A quick introduction about Small Enterprise is one of the leading magazines which talks about helping entrepreneurs, educating entrepreneurs, whether it's technology or finance or logistics, marketing, anything that SME wants to know about today's business or how to run their business. We give a lot of information helping their business grow. We started in 2009, it's almost 13 years, and we first launched smallenterpriseindia.com in 2010. And that was a flagship portal which talks on various aspects about helping MSMEs to grow their business. The portal will look like this. It's been revamped and more user-friendly for that. You can go and check on each segments, whether it's finance or logistics or technology and things like that, and go and learn about it. Please subscribe to a newsletter. We have more than 1.25 lakh of SME subscribers in our newsletter subscription data. So Ask Guru is again another platform, an initiative by us. We have more than 30 domain experts who got an average of 30 plus years of experience, whether it's legal or entrepreneurship or finance or technology, marketing, entrepreneur, family business, and so on. So you can ask a question and that will be answered in 24 hours. So that's all about Ask Guru. So you can website, go to Ask Guru and ask any questions you would like to know from our experts. These are our experts, Dr. Sunil Shukla, Dr. Krishnan Natarajan, Mr. Rajini Singh. So everyone, they are from their various domain where they have the expertise in, whether it's HR solutions or complete business management or to digital marketing or anything. You can always respond. You can always ask any queries that you want to, and you get an answer within 24 hours. The magazine is a compilation from our website. It's a monthly magazine. It talks on various subjects which any MSME want to know how to run the business. For example, technology for business, how to grow from small to big, workplaces, women in business, banking and finance, logistics and marketing, and so on. So we have the magazine, print and digital. We have many conference awards, a club for MSMEs, and email marketing and surveys and industry events and consulting. Magazine is available on various platforms, on Maxter, on Geo Magazines, which got more than 250 million access to the Prime members. And of course, Maxter also is one of the leading online digital platform stand. Our editorial calendar is very, very interesting. Why I'm saying this here right now is it gives you an idea about how this magazine helps an SME. Every month we have a subject cover story. It could be future workplaces, or it could be small to big, or startup essential, or franchising, manufacturing, technology, logistics. It talks about that particular cover story that month and in detail, so that it becomes, this magazine are not news magazine. These are information magazines where you can help your business grow. Most of the people consider this magazine as a collectible. They keep it safe and refer whenever later when they want to. Last, consulting. We've been there for more than 8 to 9 years right now, helping SMEs into various, program or various troubles or doubts or clarification they want to. We have our experts who help through our consulting division. So that's about our media, the company as such. So I would like to welcome Mr. Ajay Thakur. He's our first speaker. And let me quickly welcome Mr. Ajay Thakur. We all know about the Bombay Stock Exchange. Mr. Ajay Thakur heads the SME division. He is a professional with over 26 years of experience in the capital market, spanning India's biggest custodian of India's biggest and largest stock exchange. The key roles have been setting up depository by the regional stock exchange, developing derivatives and equity market, and setting up SME and startup platform. He is the executive committee member of the Indian Merchant Chamber, jury member of India SME Forum, jury member of Aspire Media, member of advisory committee of GLA University, and associated with Nanubhai Desai and Company as a member of the advisory board in the fintech company, Parial Fintech Services Limited, member of Incubator Seed Management Committee for Startup India Seed Fund. So let me welcome Mr. Ajay Thakur today. He's going to talk about the benefits of SMEs based on the budget, Union Budget 2022. So Mr. Ajay Thakur, over to you. I'm just trying to check Mr. Ajay Thakur is in. All right. I think we will give him some more time, and we'll get on with our next speaker, Mr. Shaisha Chadri. We'll just quickly introduce
Sure.
Mr. Shaisha Chadri. He is an expert with over 36 plus years of experience, a finance expert. He like to be called as a people leader, a people person, a leader, a mentor, a coach. He's been working with many multinational companies as a finance expert, and even with services, consulting, and manufacturing firms. So let me welcome Mr. Shaisha Chadri. He's going to talk about, again, the digitization, how digitization can help, and also on various aspects of the benefits for MSMEs from this union budget. So welcome, Mr. Shaisha Chadri. Over to you.
Thank you, Dojo. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Very warm good afternoon to all of you. This is a fantastic topic, MSMEs, and what are there for us in for MSMEs in budget 2022. Basically, I call it MSMEs or the economy's Indian economy's game changer. Some of the high-level statistics before we walk into digitization is like MSMEs own our country's 45%, approximately 45% of manufacturing output, contributes to 30% of the nation's GDP itself, which is a massive number, right? And then, of course, front ends and spearheads 40% of exports for the country. Now, MSMEs have been always having some kind of importance, and then it has ramped up very significantly in the last 2-3 years. In a way, though pandemic impacted us very badly on all the sectors, I think MSME was also badly hit, worst hit, I would say. But I think the government has recognized the need for us to make sure that MSMEs stay alive as well as they become robust in very short span of time. So that government has started giving a lot of thrust and impetus to this very whole MSME structure. From a funding plan, of course, I'll get into digitization in a little bit of a second. Funding plan, I think a lot of focus on allocating funds, 6,000 crores for additional programs on MSMEs. And then, of course, the EGLCS, right? So the extended emergency credit guarantee, which is moved from, you've got a 2 lakh crores there, which is a massive number. Again, 50,000 crore, very specific to hospitality sector, which has seen the worst hit in this pandemic time. Of course, credit guarantee trust has been opened up with 2 lakh crores. I think government is talking of some lakhs of crores of funds being made available for MSMEs to use it. One to revive, one to come up to speed from where they lost themselves. The nodes have been broken because of pandemic. So government is trying to aid that, help that, fix it. So a lot of funds being made available. And then the infrastructure, the opportunities to get the funds have been simplified. For example, this very extension of the credit portion of the guarantee scheme to next fiscal is a classic example where government stands as a guarantor till the next fiscal end, and then in terms of getting funds being funded to these MSMEs have been made a little simpler and easier. Though, of course, companies may have to still go through those procedural part of it. But I think from a larger per se, it's been made very simple and stronger for MSMEs to thrive, come back to normalcy, and then get going from where they left in probably 2020 beginning or something like that. Now, digitization. This has been the buzzword for the country for quite some time. I have seen digitization coming into picture in various forms. When I say digitization, they are looking for one plan, one country, one plan scheme. From there onwards, it's being promulgated and things like that. Now, looking at a very specific area, digitization in terms of universities. Why universities? I'll come back there. But to start with, there is a digital university which is going to be established to provide students access to this university and its materials from all parts of the country, which is a big opening for people in the education sector, right? And then, of course, the PME Vidya scheme, one class, one TV channel is there currently, which is going to be expanded to two angles of it, 200 channels, and then multi-languages are going to be introduced, which means that through this digital university and the e-Vidya scheme, government is reaching multiple states, multiple multilingual people with their focused approach. This is from class 1 to class 12. So now what happens is, for MSMEs, they will get their skilled output. Now you may not see that. Maybe in the coming years you will see, because people sitting in every nook and corner of the country will be groomed sitting at home itself, because they don't have to lose their number of years due to pandemics, post effects, and things like that. And then they will walk into their next levels of their graduation. And finally, in turn, you will get some skilled labor from the education sector to you. That is one thing. Second thing, of course, is these industries who are running the education setups are also flooded with a lot of schemes around funding and then easy access to funds and things like that. Again, another interesting aspect adding on to 1 to 12 is the Desh Stack e-portal, which is being organized to give a digital ecosystem for skilling and livelihood that will help upskill and reskill people. There are people who are in the villages who don't today have access to education because they are all confined at home. Now, through these e-portals, I think government is trying to tap those talents which are sitting in those villages, towns, and even cities, to make sure that they reskill, and upskill. And then, what happens is they come back to the job market. Now, for MSMEs, through these two schemes, what will happen is you will get skilled labor. There won't be dearth of labor for you. You will still continue to get, so which is a big boon for you. One, those who are running startups, those who are running setups under MSMEs on the educational platform will continue to receive a lot of funds. So this is a very, very important area where I think government is continuing to focus on, because they know that if we can hit this population, which is very, very vital for the businesses to be brighter in the days to come, I think that's the right investment there. Second aspect where I would want to invest my time and your time as well is in digital banking units. Government is proposing 75 banking units in 75 districts, and then they are opening up new avenues for companies to come to terms with respect to debit cards or EMIs, or buy now pay later schemes are exposed to more customers through these digital banking units. I think that's a very, very important area where we need to see how this will shape up, but there is a massive exposure there. Another interesting exposure which we get to see is the area where post offices are getting into digitization. Today, if you are a account holder in post office, you're not connected to the mainstream, which means if you issue a check from your post office, it has to go to any of our India-based banks. It takes 3 days. Now, government is trying to wipe off these 3 days, bringing those investors in postal units, postal banks to the mainstream, which means in India, you have like 150,000 post offices spread across every nook and corner of the country. Now, they're going to come into mainstream, which means there is going to be more mobilization of funds for us in the market, which means MSMEs will also be able to take some portion of that through their schemes that are being made available for them. Then again, another third aspect that I want to share here is the likely digital currency that RBI will come up in 2022-23. This is another novel idea. I think government is going in the right direction. We'll still have to see what checks and balances they are going to put. This will help us get massive, easier access for us in terms of handling funds in the Indian market, Of course, India will be the first major country to get into. There are some small countries who have already gone in and then who are trying to do this. But I think once it is coming in, I think this will be a game changer, not only for MSMEs, for the entire economy, but MSME in particular will be a game changer. Digital currency, the last one which I would want to touch up is digital currency. I think this will be a massive win for us in terms of how do we transact today in terms of buying or selling, or how do we want to do it. Digital currency is definitely going to be a game changer. So wherever we go, I think the government is pushing towards digitization, which will help us bring in some new cutting edge technologies, like, say, for example, blockchain or AI aided technologies, whereby I think government is interested in streamlining the transactions, one, wanting to take out complexities around getting a particular transaction done from end to end. They're trying to knock off certain transactions which are either overlapping or which are consuming a lot of time because of a hindrance in the whole process, because of a deficiency in the whole process. I think digitization is the right move. As we move ahead, the government has got some classic plans in terms of where we need to move from 5 trillion to and so on economy and things like that. I think it's a good game changer. We should stay invested in the MSMEs. That's why MSMEs are being given the benefit back, whether it be the education sector or whether it be the extension of the two schemes with massive lakh crores of rupees being funded in there, and things like that. I think, and then digital currency. These are three aspects. Of course, there are very many aspects that we can bring in, but these are the main three items. I thought I should table it here for us to consume and then have some good thoughts around it. MSMEs have a great say in that. I wish to see probably MSMEs raising their notch up in terms of their contribution to GDP, or whether it be manufacturing output and things like that in the coming years. I'm sure it will happen. With these thoughts, I will roll it back to our group. Thank you. Thank you for patient hearing.
Thank you, Mrs. Aisha Zadri. It's a good piece of information that you have shared with us today. Next speaker is going to be Mr. Ajay Thakur. So let me quickly introduce Mr. Ajay Thakur. So he's been with the capital market for over 26 years. Even though we have given a quick introduction before, just before he could join, just want to recap. He's heading the SME segment and in the Bombay Stock Exchange, both for startup and SME platform. It's been in various roles across setting up, the regional stock exchange and many other, platforms where he is supporting the SME forums into awards and into conference and many other committees, and also a lot of educational institutions, a lot of fintech services that he's part of as well. So let's welcome Mr. Ajay Thakur. He's going to talk about the benefits of SMEs based on the budget, 2022 Union Budget. So over to you, Mr. Ajay.
Thank you, Dojo. Can you see me? Hello.
No, we can't.
Building up, Ajay. Building up. Just a second.
You can just try to log in again, or from your refresh your browser.
On my browser?
Yeah. I mean, if you could try to log in again or refresh your browser. Yeah. I think, yeah, it's fine. So let's wait for him a second. He's going to log in again.
Can you see me?
I think the camera is facing the other side. If you could. Yes, now it's perfect. Thank you.
No, it's perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Dojo. It's really a pleasure. I was just hearing my previous speaker, and I think he has given a lot of lights on the new budget, whereby emphasis has been given on the MSME sector. Say, for example, ECLGS scheme has been extended till 2023. Besides that, 50,000 crore additional funds have been earmarked for the hospitality sector, because we have seen that they have suffered the most in last 2-3 years, where we have seen a lot of unemployment happening. But with the economy opening up, I think that the hospitality sector over the time will start working well. Not only that, even 2 lakh crore additional allocation has been done for the MSME sector, and I think that most of the MSMEs which are under pressure, they will benefit from this. Not only that, in this budget, the government focus has been on the sunrise sector, for example, EV, drones, solar. On these sectors, the government focus has been a lot, and where I think the startups are doing very well. Agri-tech is another sector where the government is focusing a lot. Besides that, on the skill development also, the government has allocated additional fund, because in India we have seen this skill development has been a big issue, and the government now want to put a lot of emphasis on enhancing the skills of the people, so that the problem of employment and underemployment can be taken care of. Besides that, if you see about the PM Gati Shakti Yojana, under that, government wants to bring or create 25,000 kilometer of roadways to address the supply chain issue. I think this will further create a lot of avenues for macro, small and medium enterprises which are really under pressure. I think a lot of new businesses can be created for them. So in this way, government has tried to focus. Not only that, if you see, the allocation has been increased. I think last year, if I am not wrong, the allocation was around 15,000 crore. Now this year, allocation to MSME sector has been enhanced to 21,500 crore. So I think, again, if you see the government, and any government for that matter, let me tell you that they can't afford losing the MSME sector, or seeing that the MSME sector not doing well. I think government focus has been on the well-being of the MSME sector, and if you see the last 2 years, the government has supported in a big way in the MSME sector. For example, 3 lakh crore rupees which they have allocated for MSME sector in 2020 during the COVID time. So in this way, either through the budget or even in between, the government keep on focusing a lot on the development of the macro, small, medium sector. Besides that, if you see, and which was also earlier talked about, having 75 new digital banks in the rural areas, and this has been a big focus, because if you see the structure of macro, small and medium enterprises, everyone is talking about that almost 70 million macro, small and medium enterprises are there, but out of that only 59 lakh macro, small and medium enterprises have been registered under Udyam registration, and again out of 59,000, 55,000, almost 55,000 are micro enterprises. Rest around 5,000 or 7,000 are or 2,000, 3,000 maybe small, and rest maybe macro. So as far as medium enterprises, so as far as we talk about 7 crore, 94% of them are into the micro enterprise, and they require finance. So from where they will get the finance? So unless until we have these macro enterprises in tier 3 cities in the rural area, these macro enterprises can't have the access to finance, or even if they have the access of finance, it will be at a very high cost. So therefore, in order to ensure that they should get an access to the finance, the government has proposed to have 75 digital banks in these areas. I think it's a very welcome step. Besides that, the government is also focusing on ease of doing business. So for that also, I think 4 different platforms have been, I don't remember and recollect the names of that, but they are trying to, connect those 4 platforms so that, ease of doing business can be taken care of. Besides that, on macro food processing enterprises, the allocation of funds have been increased from 399 crores to 900 crores. Again, a very welcome step, because macro food processing sector needs to be taken care of. They require a lot of growth in that. Besides that, on MSME performance, what they call them as ramp. On the ramp, they have allocated a budget of 6,000 crores for coming 5 years. So again, it is for enhancing the performance, competitiveness and efficiency of micro, small and medium enterprises. For they have also planning to create a cluster development program for MSMEs, and there has been there has been an allocation of rupees 235 crore for skill development and technology upgradation. So I think that government is trying to take various steps to improve the performance or to bring growth in the macro, small and medium sector, and I think these steps are in the right direction, and I think these are welcome steps. But having said that, let me tell you one thing that has given me a lot of comfort level, especially for the macro, small and medium enterprises, is the introduction of surety bonds. We have in the past seen that these small and medium enterprises have to block a lot of funds for filling the tenders. Okay, their money gets blocked. They have to give a lot of bank guarantee. Now they are replacing it with surety bonds. What they are saying, what the government has said, that even if you are giving surety bonds, maybe insurance bonds and all those things, it will also be accepted by the public sector enterprises or other organization as a instrument towards towards this tender or earnest money deposit. So I think these are very good directions. Government has already allocated 7.5 lakh crore this year for infrastructure, and overall I think this capital expenditure will bring growth in the country, and most of the micro, small and medium enterprises are going to get a lot of benefit, lot of businesses out of it. One more point on which I would like to focus is on trades platform, that is the bill discounting platform. Government has started focusing a lot on the trades platform, and that will take care of the working capital requirement of the macro, small, medium enterprises. Today, if you see the macro, small and medium enterprises, bills and payments gets blocked for 3 months, 6 months. But with this trades platform, I am quite sure that they will get the funds within 2 days or 3 days in the times to come. Of course, we have seen a lot of businesses happening on the trades platform. During the COVID period, we have seen the volume growth almost 5 to 6 times. And government has also started putting a lot of focus on trades platform. And as the public sector enterprise and large industry start using this platform, and micro, small, medium enterprise start taking the benefit of this platform, then working capital requirement or working capital issue will be resolved. So I think overall, all the stakeholders are working in that direction. Even BSE has taken a lot of initiative to ensure that the SMEs can also get equity funding from the stock exchange. We have almost 363 SMEs listed with a market capitalization of 54,000 crores, and they have raised almost 5,000 crores from the market. So overall, whether you talk about talk in the perspective of the government or financial institutions like us or the banks, etc., everybody is working in that direction. Today we are in a very sweet spot where equity market is doing very well. Government focus is there on the industry, and you have got the lowest interest rate regime in the market. If the business is good, if it's scalable, if technology is being used properly into the company, if automation is put in a rightful manner into the company, I think no one can stop the growth of the company. But at the same time, I will request all the entrepreneurs of micro, small and medium enterprises, just open up, come out of your office, start looking on the various opportunities that are existing, various benefits that is being given by the government and institutions like us, and I think nothing can stop your growth. But you need to be continuously innovating, bringing something new, adding some USPs in your company, and the success is there. So with these words, thanks a lot to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay Thakur, for throwing light into some of the aspects that the budget has for MSMEs. So I would like to welcome Mr. Pugal, who's our next speaker, who's going to talk about the MSME benefits and tally solutions for MSMEs. So Mr. Pugal is a senior consultant at Tally Solutions. He's got over 36 years of experience across various fields in accounting and inventory and training. He is associated with Tally Solutions for the past 15 years as a senior consultant and has shouldered various responsibilities in the organization, heading various functions like Tally Education's division, head of compliance and R&D, head product management audit tool, and conducted over 100 ICICI chapter events across India. So let me welcome Mr. Pugal. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Dojo. Good, good evening to all the viewers. So the budget 2022. So all of us know that, as usual, there was a lot of expectation of the budget, and the frustration first started mounting when the budget was ending. That there was no major, benefits, especially people's expectation on the income tax front was not there. But if we can just keep aside these expectations for a moment, and then if we holistically look into the overall budget proposal and presentation, in my opinion, I feel that it is a bold, balanced, steady and growth budget. I'm sure that we would have realized by this too, and especially it is, I can put it as, it's a MSME oriented budget, we can say. So the budget is progressive and forward looking. So the budget is laying a very strong foundation for the upcoming generation and the next generation to be self-sufficient. And the important thing is the focus on the capex infrastructure, which has an increase of 35.4% with an estimated amount of 7.5 lakh crore, is really commendable. Now, with this, which in turn it will generate a lot of job opportunities and also encourage entrepreneurs. So I represent Tally Solutions. So what is coming out of this budget? And if you see in the last few years, and pandemic also has given us a very, very hard lesson to learn. So the most important thing, what I feel is that, three important aspects has to be, highlighted in this session, so that all MSMEs here would leverage on these benefits and other thing, and then take your organization to the next level. So my presentation is going to be on how you can use the technology for have a complete control over your business operations, and especially on the finances. So I have a small presentation. Let me just share it. Yeah. So tally tally tech to manage your finance. So where is your money? Now, why we are focusing on finance? See, the reason is that we know budget 2020 has brought in a lot of benefits. They have extended the existing scheme. More allocations have happened on account of the existing schemes and other thing. So I think the earlier speakers have mentioned about it. Mr. Ajay Thakur also was mentioning about interlinking of Udyam, Udyam, then NCS, eShram, and all this. Basically, as has what is it going to, the benefit of that? Basically, it is going to provide G2C, B2B, B2C services related to basically credit facilitation, skilling, recruitment, and enhancing entrepreneur opportunities. The next big thing, I'm not covering the whole thing. The next big thing is basically, if you see, the ramp was also discussed by our previous speaker, where it is basically talking about the raising and accelerating of MSME program, which will there is a 6,000 crore allocated for the next 5 years as an outlay plan. The next one is SCGT MSC, where additional funds have been there. So it's basically credit guarantee fund trust for MSME, which basically it allows the bank to extend the lending to the MSMEs through institutional credit, so that the loans can be acquired by the MSMEs at a faster pace. Then for electronics, especially for to encourage domestic manufacturers on specialized electronic items, there has been an announcement on customs duty reduction on mobile phones parts and other electronic parts. The next one is yes, third. The earlier speaker had already mentioned that the startup benefit, where 100% of tax benefit for startups, 3 years out of 10 years, was provided, which was available till March 2022. Now this has been extended till next year, which is till 31st March 2023. Again, these are some of the encouraging thing which helps these startups to start and then get into plunge into the business. The extension of concession to the manufacturing company, again, it is extended by 2 years. So it is now extended till 31st of March 2024. Okay. So these benefits. So what is that? Basically, we would like to know, as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, is that three critical aspects is very, very important. Number one is that how are we going to leverage the benefits of these schemes? Okay. So we need to basically make sure that we are able to tick this part. Okay. Just a minute. The next is that it is very important. We go for a loan and other thing, but then the most important thing is that what is the level of control that we have on our finances and the operations. Do we have better control over this finances and the operation is the next stick that we need to do. And for all this, the way things are moving, we know that technology today is playing a very, very important and key role. So as an MSME, many of us have in the last couple of years, many of us have moved or forced to move to adopt technology. In a way, I think we should thank COVID for bringing this paradigm shift in the thought process of MSMEs. So adoption of technology is going to play a very, very important role going forward. And do we have are we prepared in adopting this technology? Now, to get all those things, if you see the 3 C's to take control of the finances. So finance is basically how do you manage your cash flow, and how strong are you with your working capital management, right? So the 3 C's to control your finance is basically, one is your cash flow management. Do you have a clear indication, especially the projections of your cash flow, the next 3 months, next 6 months, what is going to be the position, what is your cash flow position, how are you going to manage this? Okay, so one is the cash flow management. The second C is cutting cost. Okay, there are various ways of cutting cost. In fact, as a trader or a manufacturer, a lot of things you can control using a technology, especially in case of an inventory management, where you can cut costs. And the third C is definitely choosing the right technology, so that that technology is simpler, easier, and it is going to give you those information that you are looking for by click of a button, so that you can take an informed decision. Now, taking these aspects, the cash flow management part, if you see, one is very important aspect is the receivable and payable management. How well are you on top of your receivable and payable management, right? So in fact, as a Tally, as a technology, we have been a technology partner for MSMEs of our country for over 35 years. So we have a beautiful feature called receivable and payable management, where you can do a lot of things. Basically you can configure them. It's kind of an automation that you can do, where you set it up for one time, so that you get a lot of information by enabling and setting up these masters. What all things that you can do using the receivable payable management? Number one is that you can specify the default credit period. Now I'll come to this default credit period little later in my slide, which is a very very important thing, which the MSME Act protects the MSMEs against the delayed payment. So you can set up a default credit period for each of your customer. Okay. Number two, in case if there are any bills which are overdue, you can set up a notification from Tally, where when you are invoicing a customer, if there are any bill which are overdue, as you are invoicing, you get a notification in the system which is going to tell you, hey, look, there are 1 2 3, these are the 2 3 invoices which are overdue. So that way it allows you to take an informed decision on the course of action moving forward. The next aspect is very important aspect, is that you can specify a credit limit, so that the system is going to keep track of the credit outstanding. And anytime that you are trying to invoice your customer, where the outstanding, already there is an outstanding, and the value of invoice that you are currently raising to your customer, if it is crossing the credit limit that you have already specified, the system Tally will not allow you to raise that invoice. Okay, so these are some of the controls that you can bring in into your system. Okay, the other one is that basically once you receive a post-dated check, you can configure in Tally in such a way, so that the moment you receive a post-dated check, since a post-dated check will get honored, so in that case you can actually remove that restriction of blocking the credit limit to the extent of the amount of post-dated check amount that you are receiving. So this is as far as the trading account is concerned. So you can set it up for your sundry primarily for your sundry debtors, and as a self disciplinary action you can also do it for your sundry creditors, so that you are on top of your receivable and payable. So apart from your trading credits, Tally also has a feature where it allows you to leverage the billwise detail feature for non-trading account also. What is this non-trading account? Like you will have various loans, especially there are so much of loan facilities and schemes and programs are available, where if you are availing these loan facilities, you will have a repayment period. So now with the help of the receivable payable management in Tally, basically you can handle your loan installments. You can whatever is your periodic EMI that you have to pay, you can actually configure that, so that month on month in the system you would know what are your receivables and what are your payables as on any given date. So these are the advantages that you can do. Apart from that, in case you have advances, loans that you are providing to your employees, using this feature you can have a single ledger for multiple loans for a single employee. So this is one area which is now again going to help you in tracking your delayed payment. Next one is basically protecting your bottom line. So this is where our delayed payment is going to really help, where the act is very clearly specifying that any outstanding beyond 45 days for an MSME by a customer, if the amount is not paid, there is a rule which says that the 3 times of the current RBI rate will be charged as interest on delayed payment. So if you just take the present RBI rate, it is 4.25%, which means literally you can levy 12.75% of interest on all delayed payments beyond 45 days. There is, I'm not getting into the detail of this. There is the agreement and the dispute and other things are there. But overall, if you see beyond 45 days, okay, you can levy as an MSME, you can levy interest to your customer. So this is where you have. So how do you now know that what is your credit period and by how many days it is overdue? Now that's where, when you are going to set up your default credit period to your parties in the party master, the tally is going to track all those information. So now literally you can track your hidden cost, that is, track the loss of margin by way of loss of return on investment. So all of us know that any credit that we are extending to a customer, it is as good as giving an interest free loan to the customer. If we are not getting it on time, fortunately we have this, safety through the law, that you can levy interest on your loss of return on investment for the overdue days. Okay, so how do we now do this? So there is again a beautiful feature in Tally where you can enable interest calculation. You just set up. So let's say today you are eligible to claim 12.75% of interest on the delayed payments. All you need to do is just configure at the master level saying that charge 12.75% simple interest on outstanding due. All that you have to do. Once you have specified the due date, Tally is going to now keep track on the invoices which are overdue, and it is going to calculate interest on the overdue bill, and it's going to actually show you the interest component. Okay, when you are going to charge this, you are going to bring it into your books of account, and then you are going to charge your customer by raising a debit note or whatever is the process that you are going to do. And if you notice in the screen, there is one highlighted area where it says this particular party, there is no outstanding, but still it is saying the interest component is 1635 rupees. So which means once you set up this interest calculation, if the party is already made a payment, but then the payment is made over and above the due date. So whatever is the number of days for which it is overdue, for those number of days at the rate of interest whatever you have configured, Tally is going to compute or calculate, and then it is going to give you the interest amount. The next is managing cash flow. See, once you are able to properly manage your receivable and payable management, right? So you have a cash flow management where you can do a cash projections. So with proper bill wise management, it is going to help you in your cash flow projections. And apart from that, all your recurring expenses or income, you can do a projection, which means basically you can pass a provisional transaction so that you get a proper or 100% cash flow projections by incorporating these provisional transactions which are futuristic in nature. Okay, so now by doing all this, by click of a button, you're going to get a cash flow projections. So whatever is your current month till the end of your financial year, based on the due dates on which you are going to receive your amount, the due dates on which you are going to make the payment, the due dates on which your recurring payments are going to occur, it is going to pull all those value, and then it is going to tell you what is your current balance, and then expected amount to be received, expected amount to be paid, and what is going to be your cash flow. So this way it helps you to clearly project your operations and your cash flow and your working flow needs. Okay. So these are something where you pass as a provisional transaction. The example that is given is rent and salaries, which are recurring in nature, which you can then pass them and bring them into your cash projections so that you get a proper cash flow projections. The next and the very important aspect is the optimization of inventory. Right. So what are the things that you can do? So one is that with the help of a technology, basically by click of a button, you would know what are your items which are fast moving, slow moving, non-moving items. Then you would also know, you can get the margin. So for any particular product, what is the actual GP or the margin that you are actually getting by dealing in that particular product? Or You make an invoice to a customer with various products. So you want to know, did you really make a profit out of this invoice that you have made just now? So all this information you can get it through the Tally technology. And you can also know your committed supply. So you can, then again, there is a feature called order management feature in Tally, where you can start capturing your commitments as your sale order, and also the orders that you have placed with your vendor. You can do this, and then basically you can get a report which is going to tell you that what is the just in time stock that you can maintain. So which means, just by using your order management module and setting up your reorder level and minimum order level, by click of a button, Tally is going to tell you what is the shortfall for this particular material, and what is the amount of what is the quantity of that particular item that you need to place an order. So this way it helps you to maintain and manage an optimum stock level, so that you are not neither understocking nor overstocking. This is a quick report, item wise thing. So you have all these items which you are dealing in. You want to know which item is giving you better margin. So just click of a button, you will know that which of the item as on date is what is the GP that you have got, and what is the GP percentage that you have earned. Now this is a report which basically gives you every invoice that you have made, what is your transaction value, gross value, and what is the GP that you have earned on each of the invoice. You get a report. So all this information basically allows you to have a better control over your finance management. So now once you set up your reorder level, you have a report where you say that what is my reorder status. You come to this particular report, it is going to consider your closing stock, it will consider your purchase order, what are the purchase order which are pending, what are your sale order which are pending. Taking that into consideration, it is going to tell you what is your net available stock with you. And once you have specified your reorder level, based on that it is going to tell you what is the shortfall, and it is going to consider your minimum order level. The highest of the shortfall or the minimum order level is what is the order to be placed for this particular item that you have. So these are some of the controls that you can bring to have a better working capital management. And at any point in time, you have a real time health checkup of your operation, of your organization's progress. So we have this report called ratio analysis report. This is like your master health checkup of your company at any given point in time. So every information is available. Especially there are certain information which is very critical for you to make sure that you are falling under those criteria for you to be eligible to avail all these benefits and schemes of programs that are made available for MSMEs. So this is one area where you will know, especially for your for your operation purpose, your working capital turnover, inventory turnover, the current ratio, quick ratio, which are very critical for the loan processing aspect of it. What is your GP you're getting, NP, lot of things you get through this particular report, and this report gives you on a real time basis. So using a technology, it is very very important and critical, so that at any given point in time, because for any loan or any aid you are going, the first thing that the person who is going to fund you is going to ask for your financial statement, and how quickly can you give you this information. And this is where any kind of a technology which can help you in managing your operations and your finances and your working capital, other thing, would definitely help you. And I'm sure that many of you here are definitely using some kind of a technology, and budget is given a lot of benefits to MSMEs. So wishing you all the very best, and hope you people would leverage on all these benefits and schemes which are made available to you, extensions that have been given, and use the right technology and take your company to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pugal. Thank you very much. Indeed, presentations are always very insightful, a great help for any MSMEs trying to streamline their accounting and the complete management of the finance forecasting and whatnot. So thank you very much for that, Google.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me welcome Mr. Manoj Maheshwari, our next speaker, who will talk about the benefits of startups from the budget, the Union Budget 2022. Mr. Manoj Maheshwari is a chartered accountant and a master's in business finance. He is currently engaged with Sage Publications as Associate Vice President of Finance. He is a business transformation leader with 16 years of rich experience in corporate finance and strategy, treasury, operations, GST and taxation, shared services and business process management, budgeting and forecast and risk management technology, and digital initiatives. Prior to Sage, he was with British Telecom, Airtel, and ENY in various finance leadership roles. So, a great opportunity to hear from Mr. Manoj today. Mr. Manoj, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here on this forum. So the topic given to me is opportunities for startups that have been created through this budget. So let me just say this, that this budget is also being called as a budget for digital India. Yeah. And if you notice, I noticed one thing, that the finance minister mentioned the word startup 11 times during her speech. She mentioned the word tech or technology about 20 times during her speech. And she mentioned the word digital about 35 times during the speech. So you can well imagine how interesting it is for the startup world. And as we all know, India is now becoming almost the third largest ecosystem for startups in the whole world, and we've created more than 83 unicorns. Today, we have a startup in almost all states and union territories, and you will imagine that about 45% of the startups are coming from Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 cities, of which about 44% are women entrepreneurs. Each startup is creating on an average 12 jobs. So it's a really great ecosystem that is getting created for the startup world. Many of my previous speakers have talked about the tax concessions and the digital rupee bit. So, and in the interest of time, let me leave those portions, and I'll talk about what's the opportunities that is getting created out of this budget. So we all will agree that lack of modern employability skills is a big challenge for all of the industry. And herein the edtechs are really coming up. We've got more than 6,000 edtech companies now in India, and it's a very very big sector which is coming on, and also due to COVID. So within the edtech, the budget has laid a platform for a DESH stack, which is digital ecosystem for skilling and livelihood. And amongst this initiative, what the government is doing is they're setting up about 750 science and maths labs and about 75 skilling labs for simulated learning environment. So for these thinking skills and vocational courses. Also, the National Skills Qualification Framework, which is the national skilling program, is being aligned for the dynamic needs of the industry. So a lot of startups in the edtech space will have a lot of opportunities here. Also, the government is setting up digital university, wherein world-class education will be delivered to your doorsteps. They're going to collaborate with best-in-class universities for same, and they'll be doing it through various initiatives, platforms. They're expecting to create about 200 TV channels for that. So you see, there's going to be huge opportunity for startups to create quality content, to deal with digital tools for teaching and learning for different languages and different multimedia formats. So a huge space there for startups to take benefit of these things which are coming up in the budget. Now, another thing which the government has talked about is the agri-tech startups. So government is talking about public and private partnership for agri-tech startups. A NABARD-led fund is being set up for this, wherein blended capital under co-investment model is being introduced. And I think I'm not very sure whether any other country has done that, but our government has talked about drones for farming. So they've talked about Kisan drones. So these drones, they could be used for crop assessment, for nutrients, for digitalization of land records, for spraying of insecticide, etc. So within the drone ecosystem, the startups can venture into making of drones or giving drones as a service. The government has also laid down drone rules 2000 drone rules also the government has laid down. So in the agricultural space, there is going to be a huge space for startups for food producing, farm rentals, and IT based support. You would have seen that if some of you are watching this serial called Shark Tank India, you would have seen there were a few startups from the agri-tech space which also came in Shark Tank. Then there's a huge push towards digital banking. And today, anyway, India is having the largest number of transactions happening digitally. We have surpassed China actually on digital transactions. So the government is going to set up 75 new banks. So that is a new space that is coming up for startups. Then government has talked about, we all know that there is a huge push towards EV, electronic vehicles. But we would agree that there's a lack of charging infrastructure to push EV. So government is talking about bringing in a battery swapping policy. So pushing for battery and energy as services. So that's another very big area which is coming up for startups. Now, for the first time, government is talking about startups in the defense system. So almost 25% of the defense budget has been earmarked for that. So there will be a DRDO-led private and public partnership, and there will be a nodal body for testing and certification of such platforms. The other thing government has talked about is the Gati Shakti scheme. This is being hailed as a UPI movement of transport tech. So almost 25,000 kilometers of national highway is spended, going to be built just in the coming few years. Now, you can imagine under the Gati Shakti scheme, 16 ministries of the government are going to come together to make this all possible. So your railways, your road, your oil and gas sector, your power sector, your telecom sector, your shipping and aviation sector, all of this has to come together to make this Gati Shakti scheme a reality. So again, within this, there's going to be a revamped unified logistic interface. So facilitate the exchange between operators across different models. There's going to be space for multimodal logistics parks. So startups coming in the space of warehousing and logistic are going to have a lot of opportunity here. So if you really look at this, it's boom time for India. We are having opportunities in the edtech space. We are having opportunities in the defense space. We are having opportunities in the agricultural space. So all across, there are so many opportunities. And in general, also, the government is, very, very proactively working towards creating a huge and better ecosystem for all the startups. So, today you might have heard what is happening is this year is also being called as a year of great resignation. And why so many resignations are happening? Because a lot of people who were earlier employed in normal or regular industry are finding this startup sector is very lucrative. So with that, I think I've tried to cover as many points possible on the startup bit. So I would end my bit here. Thanks, Dojo.
Thank you, Manoj. Actually, yes, we have seen that trend across the world as well, the great resignation, and I think you have seen that part for India as well. A great moment for all entrepreneurs. And thank you very much for being at today's this wonderful webinar. Next is our Q&A session. We have few questions from our audience. I will just read and please feel free to answer those, any one of you from the panel. So we will have to finish this panel in the next a few minutes. Actually, we have running short of time, but then let's get on to this Q&A. So we have Mr. Raghavendra. He's the director of VPS Technology India Private Limited. What are the new benefits and incentives to MSME companies by the government? Is there any specific incentive that's been announced to MSMEs from the government? There's no specific sector that he has mentioned. Is mentioned in general. I mean, apart from the loans and things like that. From any specific incentive that you can mention would be great. I know this is a very vast area. I mean, this is not very specific, but I think we'll wait to hear in detail. Probably we'll be publishing few of the schemes now in our upcoming thing. But if anyone would like to answer, please answer that, because it's not a very specific. It's quite a vast area. But great, Mr. Raghavendra will definitely get back to you. We'll send you details soon and also publish the details on our portal. Next is, what is the procedure to claim our money not paid by our vendors despite cases filed under MSME Council for more than a year? This is from Mr. Ram Kumar, Director, Envision XM Private Limited. As we all know, there's a scheme for MSMEs. If you are under MSME and your payments are delayed, you can definitely file a petition to the MSME segment, and where they can claim their money. But it seems that even that is getting delayed. It's over a year. Is there any ways that you can get on with such situation and reduce the time limit of waiting? So again, that has to be answered by the government. I know that. It's none on the panel, but these are direct questions to the government. But as an expert, we all have our limitations in answering these kind of direct questions. So then the next one is specifically about an eye care industry. But again, Mr. Arumugam Somasundaram, chairman of Esilor Shankar and Company, he wants to know whether the eye care industry for an eye hospital project which will get any SME benefits. This is again pertaining to any project that that gets a fund from MSME. This is again purely related to the loan segment. Actually, I mean, he specifically wants to know if there is any specific project. I mean, the benefits for a high healthcare industry or a high care industry or the high care hospitals.
I think again on this very particular eye care segment, MSMEs are basically for manufacturing and related segments. So how they would treat this particular question, because it's very generic, is it, if it is for services related to eye care, then may not be. But he's again saying eye hospital project. So will the project qualify? I think too much of details are required here, probably to give it to in front of the government or the assessing authorities to see whether this will really qualify for. But in general, eye care is, I would say, according to my point of view, is outside the scope of MSMEs, is how I will put it. Others would want to chime in with your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sai Shetraj. It is again, it's very generic, yes. But again, this is to be answered by the banks who have been given the MSME loan, schemes and things like that. They need to address this based on. So, Mr. Armugam, it's appropriate that we have to address this by a banking expert who has this MSME loan scheme there, who they run. Next is a healthcare. Startup question. India has over 5,000 health-centric startups, and to support the domestic healthcare infrastructure, will the government consider tax exemptions or funds received and the GST reduction to 3% from the existing 18%? It's a long question.
Well, let me say that we have spoken about what the government has done in this budget. Now, any question whether in terms of any GST reduction will happen or not, only our finance minister can answer. To be honest.
True. I mean, these are the questions directly to be answered, but these are the queries. I mean, these are the queries that
No,
the
no, I
opposition.
understand. Yeah, but the thing is, in this budget, those things have not come up. But
Hmm.
maybe in future, depending on the representation of a particular sector to the finance ministry, many suggestions do get considered. So, and as we know, especially with respect to GST, they keep having these GST council meetings wherein various sectors they make their representations. So if such things are taken to the GST Council, I'm sure they're going to consider the same.
All right, great. Now, the probably last one, but one question will be: with digital currency coming into place, how are the chances of cryptocurrency gaining momentum in India? Will that, or how will that help MSMEs?
Okay, let me first chime in, and others can also chime in later. So, what government has done is government has taxed the profit from digital virtual assets, but government hasn't yet said that uh, the other cryptocurrencies are gonna be legalized or not. That is still something which is pending. Yes, the government has talked about launching its own digital rupee by RBI in the next year, but that doesn't really have any implications, so to say, about the other cryptocurrencies, and we have thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies. But what we do know is that India is one very very big hub for cryptocurrency transactions. Now, I don't think with the launch of digital rupee it has got a great correlation. But what I do know is that with the advent of metaverse and Web3, etc., cryptocurrencies will also have a role in the economy. But what are the plans of the government with respect to cryptocurrencies is something that is will be explored in future once the government come up with its guidelines on same.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Manoj. Anyone else would like to chip in, or else we'll go to the last question, which again pertaining to the startup. Um, uh, this is about the tax holidays or the kind of tax exemptions for the startups the first 3 years. Um, how is that being looked at by the government, or anything on the tax exemptions for startups? Is there any new or new benefits because they are looking at more and more startups to come up in the coming year? And is there any incentives for startups to get more tax benefits?
One major benefit is the exemption time period is extended till next fiscal. So the block of 3 years, we can go till next March 31st, right? So 2023. So that's a big boon. But if they are looking for, will the 3 years become 4 or 5? That is the intent of the question. According to my thoughts, I would say that this group is in a stabilization phase. So government may not, it will be like an individual taxation regime kind of a scenario where some things may not happen, but next year we never know. It's a election year and stories and things like that, so something else might come up. But according to me, in general, the flow is good. The industry is kind of into the next phase. So may not be more number of years in terms of exemption, or the block, or three may not get extended, is what I'm trying to basically say, in any combo, because they've already done the extension for one more additional year.
Great. Thank you. Avinash Jamma from Sholapur wants to know, uh, promoting startup in rural segment, is there any specific or any special interest shown in this budget? Or is generic for startups?
No, so I think if you recall, I spoke about agri-tech startups. So And as we know, we have so much of agriculture sector happening in the rural sector. So definitely, the government has talked a lot about the agri-tech startups. So definitely, there is a lot of scope for rural areas to do that. And also, in the initial part of my presentation, I talked about that today, more than 45% startups are coming from tier two, tier three cities. So definitely, there's a huge scope. And if you all would not have missed the story of Jugadu Kamlesh on Shark Tank India, so that's a great example, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, adding on there, I think there was a specific mention about drone technology being used
Yeah.
for agricultural setups. One, and then I think the other interesting piece that I saw from an educational side is NABARD sponsored public-private partnerships to help doing research around agriculture in the rural areas and things like that. So those are some interesting schemes people may have to invest. As Ajay Thakur said in the beginning, I think more and more of practical knowledge in this topic will take us to the place there where they want to. But from a theory per se, I think yes, there are fantastic schemes being kicked out of the brains of our leaders, saying that hey, here it is, kind of. So Drone is one, agriculture, of course, R&D is two, and then again award sponsored. It's again a flagship aspect for the country's development programs, right? So I think these are some of the aspects that come in my mind, in addition to whatever Manoj said now.
Yep. So I think with this, we are winding up today's webinar. We are almost coming to our end of the session today. So once again, a big thank you to all our attendees, and hope this has literally, helped you understand more benefits of our for the SME scheme from this budget. Our next webinar is going to be on digital transformation, which is going to be on 19th of March. Digital transformation is it's definitely a part of the government's initiative as well for MSMEs. The interest shown by the digital transformation of India by the government is quite enormous in terms of the previous years. Especially this pandemic has brought to a stage that technology is a must. It's a do or die situation. So how do you get onto a digital transformation? Most of the SMEs are not very well aware how to take their business practically to make it a digital platform. So next webinar will have a step-by-step process of helping SMEs get onto that platform. A very interesting webinar. Please don't miss out. We'll have experts in the industry who will be joining us. Thank you all our speakers. Thank you, Mr. Saisha Shatri. Thank you, Mr. Manoj, Mr. Ajay Thakur, and Mr. Pugal. Thank you very much for sharing this wonderful knowledge to all the attendees today. And a big thank you to Tally Solutions and all our partners who are supported this initiative. The GAIN, who is the acceleration partner for SMEs. And we look forward to see you all in our next webinar on 19th March. Until then, thank you and good night. Thank you.